Hello and welcome to the SSE online information session on the Health and Wellbeing Trade-Up Programme run by SSE in partnership with Guy's and St Thomas Charity. Get this working. Bear with me a moment while I get this slide shared. Okay, so what we're going to cover today is we're going to look at what the programme covers and particularly what the eligibility criteria are. It will give you a chance to decide whether the programme's right for you, whether you meet those criteria, and we'll also look at how to apply. And then at the end, I'll just cover off some of the frequently asked questions that we've received so far about the programme. So, what does SSE do and how do we do it? So, for those of you who don't know, so SSE, the School for Social Entrepreneurs, we were founded in 1997 by this man, Michael Young. So, Michael was a serial social entrepreneur who set up over 50 organisations in his lifetime, social organisations. I heard recently that he'd also set up another 50 that had failed, so 50 successful ones and 50 that had failed, which says something about the nature of social entrepreneurship. It's about taking risks for the benefit of social impact and purpose. So Michael set up a range of organisations, including the better known ones are Open University, the Consumers Association, which publishes Which magazines, Language Line in the UK, and SSE was the second to last organisation he set up before he died, and he set it up on the basis of supporting social entrepreneurs who are action orientated and doers. So he set it up not on an academic or theoretical basis. It's a programme that's action learning based, all about learning by doing. People who come onto our programmes have to have an organisation or an idea for an organisation, and they're ready to actually work on that organisation whilst they're with us on the programme. And the only homework is to apply the learning from the programmes to their organisation. So it's very practical. So what's different about SSE? So I'm beginning to touch on some of that anyway. So it's learning from those who've been there and done it. It's action learning focused, so people come in, hear from our speakers, take the learning away, try it out in their organisations, and then come back and reflect on what's worked and what hasn't worked. They get support from the group and SSE, so we work with cohorts of people on a programme, so a typical programme might be 15 to 20 people. All of those people will be at a similar stage in trying to trade and grow their organisations. And by bringing together the leaders of those organisations who are at similar stages, suddenly it creates a really strong peer group where people are able to share ideas with each other, trade, network, support each other, and be quite open about the challenges they're facing in growing and trading their organisation. And hopefully the programs provide inspiration and motivation, particularly from the speakers that we invite in, who are usually entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs themselves, who have been there and are maybe a bit further ahead. So you'll be able to learn from their experience of facing some of the challenges and the learning that they've had in trying to grow and develop their trading for their organisation. So you can see that they've managed to get through that stage, and now they're much stronger. Then you can do it too. So, and then the other really important aspect of the programs is personal development and leadership development. So we're the School for Social Entrepreneurs, not a social enterprise. So we support the individual leaders of their social organisations. And that means that we work with you around confidence, resilience, self-awareness, and leadership ability, particularly as you grow. you'll be taking on teams of people, and you'll be exploring your own leadership qualities and styles, and thinking about how you take the values and culture and vision for the organization that you may have had in your head previously, and how you embed that in an organization and a team as you grow. So specifically about the Health and Wellbeing Trader program that we're running in partnership with Guys and St Thomas Charity. So it's a learning program, first and foremost, composed of 12 days spread over a 12-month period, and we'll give you the dates a little bit later on. It comes with a match trading grant of up to £10,000. Again, I'm going to explain what that means a little bit later. And it will connect you with a community of people like you running projects like the one that you're running, specifically in Lambeth and Southwark. So who can apply? So this whole next section is going to be around the eligibility criteria. So in terms of your organisation, you need to be operating for 1 year or more, and you need to have an income of at least £15,000. By income, we mean any kind of income. So that could include grants or sales of services, contracts. So it's the total income for your organisation. And then you must be looking to grow through trading. So as I'll explain later, the grant is drawn down by increasing your traded income compared with the same period last year. So in order to draw down all of the grant, you will need to increase your traded income whilst you're on the program. So it's important that you think you'll be able to achieve that. And you must have alignment with the priorities of Guys and St Thomas Charity, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And you must be working in Lambeth and Southwark. So what are the priorities of Guys and St Thomas Charity? So there's two key themes that we're looking to support. So firstly, reducing childhood obesity. And then secondly, organisations that are working towards slowing people's progression from one to multiple long-term health conditions. So the first one, childhood obesity. So in a snapshot, so Guys and St Thomas's goal is to close the obesity deprivation gap in Lambeth and Southwark. So bringing the high obesity rates in the most deprived areas down to the level of the more affluent ones. So they're focusing efforts on 14 of the most deprived wards, layering up activities that encourage healthy eating and physical activity in the places where children and families spend their time, so themed around homes, schools and streets. And overall, the programme aims to help 13,000 children in Lambeth and Southwark lose weight by 2026. So I'm just going to go into a bit more detail around the eligibility criteria of some of these areas. So I think the first thing to say is all of what I'm about to tell you is contained in the guidance notes. So before you even think about applying, the first thing to do is really read through the guidance notes for this programme in detail. The link to those I'm going to show you a little bit later on, but it's also you can access it via SSE's website and under the courses section. So look at the guidance notes first, and this is all there, but I'm going to touch on this anyway for you. So some of the projects that we're really hoping to support are ideas that really help to change things like nurseries, children's centres, schools, high streets, parks and green spaces, and anywhere else where children and young people are eating or spending their time. And these are themed around the home, the school and the street. So underneath the home, so we're particularly interested in projects or organisations with ideas to make changes to environments that support pregnant women to eat healthily and exercise, projects supporting breastfeeding beyond the first 6 weeks and healthy infant feeding, interventions in early years settings, so 2 to 5 years old, that change spaces to encourage healthy eating and increases in physical activity. Products and services aimed at parents of younger children, supporting positive eating and physical activity. Projects to change home environments to make it easier for parents to prepare healthy meals at home. And interventions that provide families with practical tools and support to make positive changes to their home environment. Within the schools area, we're particularly looking at organisations who deliver impactful projects in Lambeth and Southwark schools, and then also organisations that might supply food to schools, so that could be school lunches, snacks, or after-school clubs. And then under the streets theme, we're particularly interested in hearing from projects that can change food environments in shops and other food outlets, organisations that are developing new healthy products or reformulating existing products to create healthier options, and challenger brands, retail outlets or products to make healthier options more affordable and convenient than the unhealthy options. And importantly, things that we're unlikely to support. So we're unlikely to support projects which seek to change behaviour of people through educational awareness training. So these projects can have a range of benefits, obviously, and they're helpful. But the evidence that Guy's and St Thomas Charity have found is that that they've got more limited effect on preventing childhood obesity at sort of population level than some of the other examples that I've just given you. So that's a bit more detail on the childhood obesity theme. So have a look at those criteria, the examples of projects in the guidance notes. If you're a bit unsure about whether you fit those criteria, then just let us know, give us a call, and then we can help guide you. So the second big theme is around multiple long-term conditions. So the goal here for Guy's and St Thomas Charity is to slow down people's progression from one to many conditions. So bringing the highest rates of progression down to the current average rate of progression. They're concentrating efforts on working age people to improve their health, to make changes to the social factors that influence progression, and strengthen individual agency and connections in communities where they live. And the programme aims to work with 19,000 people living in Lambeth and Southwark with at least one long-term condition, and focusing on those at risk of rapid progression. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit more, again, give you some examples of the types of projects and organisations that we're particularly looking for that might fall within this theme. But firstly, just to say, in terms of what some of those social factors might be, there are things like employment, housing and finances, and community ones, for example, developing more resilient neighbourhoods that can all help towards slowing down that progression. And what do we mean by long-term health conditions? So there are conditions where there's currently no cure, but they can be managed with drugs or other treatments. So they range from physical health conditions such as type 2 diabetes to mental health conditions such as depression, as an example. We're concentrating our efforts on working age people, so 18 to 65 in Lambeth and Southwark. And we're hoping to hear from projects or organisations that might be able to help around 3 strands in particular, so the social context, communities and health. So within the social context strand, we're particularly interested in hearing from organisations that have ideas for how people with health problems could be better supported to stay in employment or get back to work, or projects and organisations that support people with health problems around financial capability or exclusion. So that they're examples within the social context strand. In the community strand, projects working to strengthen individual connections and relationships in communities, and particularly with a focus on socially isolated or disconnected adults of working age. And then within the health strand, projects that support people holistically to improve their health, which could include mental and physical health, and projects that help people to make a number of lifestyle changes. So, for example, it could be with their diet or levels of physical activity. And again, within the multiple long-term conditions theme for the program, things we're unlikely to support. So unlikely to support projects which focus on improving the care of older people over 65 with multiple and complex conditions, or projects that focus on loneliness in older people. So again, these are all in the guidance notes. Have a good read through, and then any queries, come back to us and let us know. So they're the eligibility criteria. So in terms of the learning program dates, they're here on the screen for you. So the first learning block would be the end of September, and the program would run then for 12 months until September 2020. So there's 6 learning blocks and then action learning set days. So I'll explain now the different program elements to give you an idea of what these are. And the program's going to run from Great Dover Street, so here in Southwark. So actually, I'll go back to this slide. Just so that on the learning block days, a typical learning block would be made up of a combination of usually a social entrepreneur speaker who's a bit further ahead, who will tell their story of what they've set up, why they set it up, the problems they've faced, how they've overcome them, and what they've learned. They would tell that story for maybe 20 minutes or so, and then you in the group would have the chance to cross-question them on that experience, to draw out the learning and the knowledge that you need in order to apply to your organisations. So there'd probably be one speaker like that, and then we'd also have speakers covering different business skills areas. So it could be around marketing, sales, social impact, finance, for example. But those speakers will all be practitioners, so people who are used to applying those skills in practice rather than talking about them in the abstract. So you might have one expert as well. And then the rest of the day would be group work, which is really important because there's so much knowledge in the group of 15 to 20 people that we use group work exercises to help you share that knowledge with each other, support, challenge each other, and apply the learning that you're hearing from the speakers. So that would be the typical sort of makeup of the learning block days, and we tend to have different themes for different learning blocks. And then as you'll see here, there's 4 action learning sets during the program. So an action learning set, you'd be broken up into a smaller group of probably about 5 people, and you stay in those groups for the duration of the program. And each time you come to me for an action learning set, so it's like a peer problem solving or coaching group. So you take turns to be in the hot seat, and each person in the hot seat would present a problem or an issue that you're facing with your organisation. And the other people in the group are only allowed to ask you questions about that issue or problem. They're not allowed to give you advice or suggestions. And the aim is to, well, through the questioning of the other people in your group, is to help you broaden your perspectives on the problem you're facing. But really importantly, at the end, you come up with actions that you're going to go away and take in relation to the problem. And it means that you own the actions. You're more likely to do them because you come up with them. So as an example, I might come to the group with an issue around maybe having a difficult relationship with my chair of trustees. And I'd present that as a question to the group, and then the group would spend maybe about 40 minutes asking me questions to try and help you come up with action points. And it works particularly well when it's an issue or a challenge around people or relationships. It's less effective if people bring something that's quite technical. It's not really the right forum for that. So, And often it will highlight issues that you're facing personally around that problem. So for me, maybe it could be that I've got issues with people in power or authority, which is making the relationship with my chair more difficult. And through the group's questioning, I will come up with a range of actions about how I can try some things out that might make that relationship more effective. And then once I've had my turn, then the other people in the group have their turn in the hot seat. It's really important for developing coaching and questioning skills, which are good to use with your staff teams, and also really deepens the relationships with the people in your group, and you'll make probably deeper connections in your action learning groups because you're sharing things that are quite challenging. And then some of the key kind of business skills areas that we'd cover on the program. This is a trade-up program, so the aim is to try and help you grow, develop a stronger foundation, both in terms of your income model and also your social impact, from which you can then scale further and grow even further. So the aim is to try and get the foundation of your business model really strong at this stage before you then grow it further. So some of the things we'll be looking at are your business model. So, the financial side, where the money comes from, who your customers are, how you differentiate from the competition, what problems you're solving, the resources you need to deliver the service to the customers, all those types of things, and looking at that to see whether it fits together and works as a model. Product and service development, obviously with the focus on trading, you're going to need to sell products or services, whether that's to individuals and consumers or whether it's to other organizations. Building a diverse and sustainable income mix. So even though the focus of the program is on trading, it's not all about trading. We want you to develop a diverse and sustainable income mix that reduces the risk on or reliance on any one mix or any one type of income side. And then leadership and organizational culture and managing people, that becomes particularly important at a trade-up level because you're probably beginning to build a team of people around you. It could be volunteers, but it's probably staff as well. And that becomes a more time-consuming and important part of your role as leaders of your organizations. And then marketing, branding, sales, and winning contracts. So all the stuff that really helps you secure your traded income. Achieving and measuring social impact. Managing finances. Both of those we do on all program levels, but at the trade-up level, we just do them at a slightly more sophisticated level. It becomes more, your managing finances become more complicated as you grow. And measuring your social impact becomes more complicated as you grow. And then building community engagement and accountability. So there's an examples of some of the areas that we would cover. We would also intersperse the kind of organization building type sessions with working with Guys and St Thomas Charity to bring in some expertise and knowledge around the specific health themes that we're trying to achieve here. So around childhood obesity and preventing people moving to multiple long-term health conditions. So where we've got great expertise from our partner, Guys and St Thomas Charity, will bring that in to help you think about the most effective solutions to those problems in your communities. What you won't get from it, so we won't develop the organisation for you. We won't have all the answers. I mean, we'll have a lot of the answers. We'll bring lots of good people in for you to learn from. But the emphasis is on you really drawing up the knowledge and will help to connect you with other sources of information to help you get the answers. We won't have the perfect contact for everything, but we will have a lot of good contacts. We're a well-networked organisation. We're not a high-level business course, and you won't come out with a qualification. So it's not like an MBA. It's more like an accelerator where by coming through the program, once you've completed it, hopefully you'll be further along than you would have been if you hadn't come through it, and you'll be going away with increased skills, confidence, knowledge, and a network of people around you. So, and we can't make it easy for you. Hopefully we can make it a bit easier, but this is a difficult thing to do, to grow social organisations like this, and there's always challenges along the way. But with a group of people around you, you've got more support in taking you through those challenges. So some of these things I've probably just said. So what will I get from it? So a supportive, inspiring environment where you can be yourself, where we try and encourage people to be open about challenges, mistakes, failure, because we think that's where the most learning is. This isn't about coming into a learning program and pretending that everything's okay, or that you've got the perfect answer, because that's just not reality. A network of fellow community business leaders to share ideas with. I've talked about this a bit, but I think for me personally, my experience here of running programs, the peer support network that you've got from your fellow students is probably as important, if not more so, than the speakers that we'll bring in and put in front of you. There's so much knowledge in the room, and that the support that you'll get on the program and beyond it will be invaluable. You'll get ideas and tools to help you progress, and it'll really develop your confidence, self-awareness, resilience, and personal skills. So I think increased confidence is one of the biggest things that comes out of our programs for people. And development of you as a leader of a growing organisation. So you should come out as stronger, more confident leaders. What you'll need to give, so 100% commitment to the group. It's a group program, so we expect people to be there all the time, because peer learning is so important. That's a really valuable expectation. You'll need to take responsibility for your own learning and what you get from the program, and have openness to new ideas and new ways of doing things and new ways of learning. If you're not open to new ways of learning, then it's probably not for you. So let me tell you a little bit about the match trading grant. So match trading is a new way of giving out grants, which SSE has pioneered over the last couple of years. So we set aside up to £10,000 in grant funding for your organisation. We'll pay you £2,000 upfront at the beginning anyway, and so you'll get that. You don't need to return it. It's to give you a head start in developing your trading plans. And then we'll give you the rest of the grant every quarter, up to £10,000 over the year, depending on how much you've increased your traded income compared with the same quarter last year. So what we'll do is we'll measure your baseline of traded income in the September 18 to 19 period. So that'll be your baseline. So for example, if you traded £5,000 of income in the September 18 to 19 period, in order to draw down your full £10,000 grant, you would need to trade £15,000 worth of income in the September 19 to September 20 period, which is the program period. So it's a pound for pound match based on every pound you increase your traded income compared with the same period in the baseline year. So the idea of this is to help incentivize you to really develop the traded income streams. So they would include, so what trading would include would be things like sales to consumers, so the general public, for example, sales to other organisations and businesses. It includes kind of contracts, public sector contracts, maybe contracts with schools, other voluntary organisations, other social enterprises. And there are some other areas. So, for example, there's things like sponsorship where there's a grey area. So there's sponsorship can be included if there's a business service attached for the person who's buying the sponsorship, but if they're not getting anything in return, and it's really effectively just a donation, then it wouldn't count. If you need help around what counts and what doesn't, there's more information and guidance notes, but talk to us. So one of the main things we're looking for is that you've got the potential to increase your traded income by that £10,000 over the next year from September 19 to 20, because really we want you to draw down all of that £10,000 grant. And then you also need to attend at least 80% of the program in order to get your final payment. So what can you spend it on? So you'll spend your grant on things to help your organisation, including salaries, core costs, marketing costs, running costs, travel and subsistence costs, for example, and then also assets up to £1,000, but not over. So it's fairly broad, the categories that you can spend it on, and it's flexible. So if your business develops and changes and you need to spend it on different things, then that's okay. You'll have a grant manager from here, and you can work with them to change your budget. It has to be used for charitable purposes, for public benefit, and it has to be spent between September 2019 and September 2020, which is the program period. Here we go. So what do we mean by traded income? So this is a bit more detail here. So to recap, sales of goods or services to the public, sales of goods or services to other organisations, sponsorship and membership fees where there are benefits. Rental income is another important one, particularly if you've got a space that you're able to rent out to other people. Some of the things it doesn't include, importantly, it doesn't include donations or voluntary contributions, grants, loans, income from investments, bank interest, transfer of funds. So none of those would be included in traded income. So what are the next steps and how to apply? So here's a link to the page on our website, which has got all the details. So that on there's frequently asked questions. There's the link to guidance notes. There's a link to the application form. So that's your starting point. We're asking people to submit an initial application by Tuesday, the 18th of June. And so that's a shorter, hopefully shorter, lighter touch application. Just to, if you think you're interested and you think you're eligible, put that in. And then we'll look at those, and ones that we think are eligible will be invited to complete a more detailed application by Tuesday, the 16th of July. And then if you're successful at that stage, you'll be invited to an interview, and they'll be taking place on 7th, 8th and 9th of August. And then we'll make decisions with Guides of St Thomas Charity around mid-August time. And then we'll let you know by the end of August whether you've been successful for a place on the programme. And the programme starts 26th of September and ends September 2020. And just a reminder, the period of the grant claim is 12 months, September 19 to September 20. So just a few questions that we know some people have asked us already that might be useful to know and to cover. So the first one of these is, if my organisation is based outside of Lambeth and Southwark, but the people I serve are Lambeth or Southwark residents, can I still apply? The answer to that simply is yes. And linked is, can I apply if I'm an organisation I'm not currently based in Lambeth or Southwark, but would work in the area for this programme? So again, yes, we'll consider applications from these organisations if you're working on the periphery of Lambeth and Southwark, but the people that are going to be benefiting are based in Lambeth or Southwark or on the periphery. Can I apply if I'm a large national organisation with a project in the area? So we'll probably prioritise organisations and entrepreneurs based in Lambeth and Southwark, but there is a chance we could select your project if you're a large organisation. If it's exceptional and it's really meeting the eligibility criteria, in ways that we're looking for, and it's a right fit for the trade-up program, then yes, potentially. So do talk to us. Another question is around what do we mean by low-income areas, and do we have specific areas in mind? And what if, for example, I was working in a more affluent area within the boroughs? So the program goals focus on reducing inequality within Lambeth and Southwark, so kind of reducing inequality between the less affluent and more affluent areas, and the impact that has on people's health outcomes. So we do focus some of our work in specific communities, but for guidance sometimes it's not all of it. So we do welcome applications relevant to any part of the borough as well. So again, talk to us about what you're doing. And a couple more. So can an organisation or project apply they've really received funding from Guys and St Thomas charity? Yes, that's fine. The main thing is we're trying to support organisations working on the two key health themes for Guys and St Thomas in Lambeth and Southwark. So if you're already receiving funding around that area, then we'd be interested in working with you to help strengthen your organisations and increase your impact in those areas. And then one of the final frequently asked questions is around sort of demonstrating proof around sort of preventative measures around those themes. So one question we had is referencing literature in the application enough to demonstrate proof of preventative measures, or does it need to be shown in a more concrete way? So I think we're open to evidence being based, or the evidence base being fairly low, as long as there's a clear argument that links the activity to evidence that's out there that demonstrates the preventative nature of the work. So that's fine as well. So hopefully that's given you a great overview of the programme and what we're looking for, particularly around the eligibility criteria. Again, just to reiterate, go to that website, the link's here, or go to the SSE website, look under courses, and then you'll find the Health and Wellbeing Trade-Up Programme there. Takes you to the same place. The guidance notes are there, closing dates are there, frequently asked questions are there. So the first date you just need to have in mind is to be able to submit an initial application by Tuesday the 18th of June. If you've got any questions before that, then please do just get in contact, let us know. We're happy to talk you through some of these things again, and also try and help you work out whether you've got a project that's meets the criteria and it's worth you applying. So just call if you're in doubt. So great. Well, we hope to receive an application from you and look forward to working with some of you over the next year or so. Thank you. Bye.